Welcome to the Influence and Inspire podcast, episode 6. And I'm delighted to say my guest today is Carl Reid. What I'd like to say about you, I'd like to say that you are one of the unsung heroes who have a day job but still find the time to volunteer and work with the community. So I'll just say well done for that, first of all, Carl. And
Thank you very much.
and
Thank you.
and how are you today?
I'm very good today. I'm in a good mood.
Good.
It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow, and yeah, I feel pretty good.
Oh, excellent. Have you got a party for her prepared or?
She's just gonna go down to Surrey Keys, do a bit of bowling, maybe a bit of Pizza Hut. Just keep it, nice and simple.
Nice, nice. All right, Carl. So back to business.
Yeah.
You run a community basketball club called Southwark Storm.
Yes.
How long have you been running this club?
So yeah, thank you. I don't feel like a hero, but thank you for that. But I mean, I've been running a club called Southwark Storm now. We're just going into our 7th year.
Okay.
And just to give you a bit of background about that, what it is, I run a organisation called Community Sports Management Network, which is basically a case of me and my 3 friends who came together, which is Carl, Sam, Marcus, and Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And we came together to make this sort of community opportunities for people in sport.
Yeah.
And underneath that, we run the club Southwark Storm, which is a basketball club. So that's the sort of structure there. The basketball club's going really great. I mean, basketball is a really popular sport. You may not think it living in England, but it is a very world played sport. I mean, I've not got the statistics in front of me, but I think it's the 3rd most played team sport in the country. I think it's only behind football and rugby.
All right.
So there's a lot of participants when it comes to basketball, and we've been working really hard in South London, Southwark, to just build a really good reputation within the community. We provide basketball sessions for youth.
Yep.
We have a women's team that has been competing in a league for 6 years now, so they're going into their 7th year.
Okay.
And we've also been fortunate enough to run some satellite clubs, which is based in schools. So we are currently based in schools around the borough running basketball club sessions. So, it's really something that I'm proud of and something that I believe benefits my community.
Yeah. And do you think there's still a lot of interest in sports activities in young people today?
Yes, because sport is something that's natural. I've worked in schools, and from a young age, kids are just naturally sporty. You could be in a playground, and a child will say, "Oh, I'll race you to that pole," and they'll just start running. So sport is always there. I just think it's a case of, is it accessible?
Yeah.
And is it getting to the young people? That's something that I think is probably the issue. But the love for sport would never die.
Yeah. And you said you got a women's basketball team as well, which is good. What was the take up like for that team?
So yeah, I mean, women play sport just as much as men, and basically I was coaching a team at the time, and I was playing in a team at the time, and there was a lot of women that used to play with the guys, and they basically said, "Look, we want to start a women's team," and that's how it sort of materialized. And every season we just have loads of women. We get a lot of women who come over to the country from Europe where basketball is much more popular, and they come over and they seek us out. And as well, we have a lot of lady who maybe was forced to play netball in school, but they want to try basketball. I always like that one because basketball's better than netball. We are inundated with women always sort of constantly asking. I mean, we are potentially, we could be potentially doing more basketball next season. We've actually been approached by another team who want to potentially join with us to make 2 teams. So it's exciting times. And, there's probably more women playing basketball and playing sport than ever before in London, definitely.
Okay, good. So How important do you think it is for young people to participate in sport, and what are some of the things they learn from taking part in team sports?
Well, a couple of things that I definitely want to highlight. So I think the first example is a young boy who comes to our Sunday session.
Hmm.
So our session later, but he comes to our session, and we don't do it for this, but
Yeah.
his mum came to us about a month into the sessions, and was just like, look, Carl, he's got to keep coming.
Yeah.
He's doing so much better in school. He was one
Hmm.
of those sort of children that was labeled ADHD and
Hmm.
autism, and just having that discipline in a sport,
Yeah.
and it helps them to transfer those skills, and he's taken it into school,
Hmm.
and that's something we really love from sport.
Yeah.
And then I think the second thing, which is really good for young people, is just discipline.
Hmm.
A lot of young people do not get discipline in different areas of their life. So
Hmm.
when you play a sport, you naturally have to be disciplined. Whatever sport it is, you have to train, you have to practice your craft to be
Hmm.
better. That natural discipline, you have to be coached, you
Yeah.
have to listen to someone.
Hmm.
That is, I believe, one of the biggest benefits of sport, and I would really encourage a lot of young people to try and get into sport if possible.
Yeah. And I suppose, and that would be parents as well who've got young children who they may be having problems with at school and things like that. Just try and get them involved in a bit of team sport.
Yeah, I mean, team sport would be ideal because
Hmm.
you get to you meet new friends. They learn off each other. But there's so many sports out there, and it doesn't have to be a team sport. There's a lot of people that do taekwondo and things
Hmm.
like that, tennis.
Yeah.
But you still have to have someone coach you. You still have to learn that discipline and show a bit of craft to your game. So any kind of sport, and just quickly on that, I know a lot of parents who take their kids to football and they don't like it, and then straight after that, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, don't don't give up on one sport.
Hmm.
We're a very highly dominated football country,
Mm.
and the fact that it's in your face is a kind of a put off.
Yeah.
And sometimes young people like to do something that's a bit different.
Hmm.
So with our program, we're able to provide something like fencing, for example, and
Mm.
it's something you would never think of, but it's actually really good. So there's always there will be a sport out there. I promise you, there's a sport out there for every young person. It's just about trying to find it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just moving on to a bit more of your volunteering. So you're a volunteer for the Black Training and Enterprise Group, BTEG, which was founded by one of my previous guests, actually, Bola Abisogan, who I interviewed in episode 2.
Yes.
So what do you do with BTEG?
I mean, what I do with BTEG is it's really great. I mean, I didn't go and seek BTEG. It
Hmm.
just happened off chance. I myself was working in a school, and I was doing a role model project with 10 black boys
Hmm.
who, were the ones who were out of class. They were sort of in the inclusion center, and
Yeah.
I wanted to work with them. And I seeked BTEC. I
Hmm.
went online, I seeked them, and Bola actually came to my school.
Yeah.
He'd done a bit of a talk with a couple of other role models with the young people, and it was just amazing. It was
Mm.
really good. And then BTEC said, "Look, Carl, why don't you join?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not anybody, But finally, I joined, and it was the best thing, one of the best things I've ever done. I've been able to go to schools, prisons, youth
Hmm.
centres, just do things like CV workshops and just assemblies, and my sport, and just
Yeah.
promote a lot of positivity amongst these young boys,
Hmm.
especially young black boys. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been able to do. And I've been fortunate enough that from it, I've been able to do something like this.
Hmm.
I also met the Prince. I met Prince William, which was really cool. And
Hmm.
I also got to be on BBC London News as well. So, given that, I don't get paid for it, but
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to receive a lot of great stuff from putting my time in that volunteering. It's just
Hmm.
something that I'm really happy about.
Good. Good. And just going a bit back, what made you become a BTEC role model? What made you want to become a role model?
Well, I mean, I've worked in schools and youth centres, and I know, the barriers that we face,
Mm-hmm.
that people like me face growing up in council estates,
Yeah.
and, maybe single parent homes and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. It's just a chance to give back, really. I just know that if I was younger and I had somebody older telling me the things that I tell the young people,
Yeah.
I would really appreciate it. So it's just a case of me just understanding where they're coming from. I've, as far as I'm concerned, I've never come across a bad child.
Yeah.
Never come across a bad child, even when I've gone to prisons and met young people who are in there for killing people and stuff. And when you speak to these people, these
Mm-hmm.
young people, they're not bad.
Yeah.
They may be lost, they may be a little misguided, but they are not bad kids. And
Mm-hmm.
I really want to try and help them to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds really good. So you put together an 8-week youth mentoring program. Um,
Yes.
so just tell me a bit more about that program. What did it consist of?
So yeah, I just after doing working with BTEG and the coaching that I do, and
Mm-hmm.
being in a lot of schools, my main issue with the schools is there's every school has it. They have some sort of area or classroom where they take out the children who are disruptive. It's normally called some sort of inclusion zone, or they have a name for it. But when I work with the kids call it prisons in schools.
Oh wow.
And yeah, because it's all the disruptive kids who are
Yeah.
put together, and that's just a recipe for disaster. I just thought that there's got to be a better way.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the people who work in these places, I really want to give them their dues. They work
Mm-hmm.
really hard, but I just wanted to try and do. Everyone learns different, so I devised a sort of plan that a program that involves a lot of hands-on stuff, a lot of leadership building, where you may not have a pen and paper, but they're still learning. And it was very interactive. It covered things like leadership, motivation, confidence building,
Mm-hmm.
and then I touched a little bit about knife crime as well, because that is something that sort of it touches me, and it's
Yeah.
hot in South London.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it a bit of a go. I made the program. I ran an 8-week pilot at my old school, which is Archbishop Tennyson's in Kennerton.
Yeah.
And it went really well. The children were very receptive of it. And when I last contacted the school, I know that about 3 of the boys who were part of the program have now gone back into mainstream classes. And that's my goal.
Mm.
If I ever get a chance to do it again, I want to get these children, young people, back into the mainstream classrooms, because in those sort of inclusion centres, or whatever they may want to call them,
Yeah.
um, it's very difficult. It's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult for them to be in that sort of environment. So getting them back into that mainstream classroom is something that I think is a must for
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
So the feedback was good, particularly from the kids. How did the school take it? Are they planning on bring you back in to do some more programs?
Well, I mean, it's difficult for me because I work full time, and
Indeed, unsung hero. You reminded me.
not here. I work full time, and I also do the basketball. So
Yeah.
I scoped it, and I myself learned ways that it could be done better, and if anything, that program needs to sort of come back in and just be retouched a bit. But the school were very positive. I know that they were keen for me to come in and do an assembly.
Yeah.
But it's just that time of the year, exams. It got to that time where it was exams,
Yeah.
and we're in the summer term. I mean, school's like got a couple of weeks left, so I will definitely be looking to entertain that again in September if possible. But
Okay.
it's definitely something I won't be giving up on.
Okay. So Carl, you've worked in education previously for 10 years, including youth work. What advice could you give parents who are struggling with teenage kids at the moment?
Well, I mean, Ryan, I don't want to tell anyone how to bring up their kids. That's the first thing.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, my tips. I would give a few tips, and one of the things, like I said, is trying to get them into sport.
Yeah.
As well, I really think that parents, if possible, should try to interact with schools positively.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you volunteer? Can you maybe be a parent governor? There's
Yeah.
a lots of ways that parents can be involved in schools, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel young people will do better in school when their parents are involved with that. That
Yeah.
constant liaison with teachers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things. And then just lastly, just being there for the young person. Like if you yourself cannot be there, then does he have an uncle? Does he have a friend of the family? Because I'm just talking specifically about single mothers, because it's a lot of what I deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of young black males lack black male role models,
Yeah.
whether it's in real life, TV,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it. So that is the sort of three main areas I would say. Get them into sport. Really try, if you can, to be interactive with the school or education system.
Mm-hmm.
And three, just is there a positive role model somewhere that you can sort of like palm them off, or just let them check in with now and then.
Yeah. So with the interaction with the school, would you say is that, I know you talked about parent governors and stuff like that. It's also as important, I suppose, to talk to the teachers about your own child's education and just, I suppose, show them that you're positive and you want your child to do well, I suppose.
It's exactly that, Ryan. And it's something that people are going to listen and think, oh, well, why I do that anyway. But
Mm.
it's a case of making that effort. And I see in schools, sometimes an incident may happen and a parent comes in, all angry and
Yeah.
upset, and
Yeah.
it's a natural thing. But you really want to try and avoid being labelled as sort of bad parent, because it could feed through to your child. And what the more you show a positive involvement
Yeah.
within the teachers and the school, I
Mm-hmm.
promise you that will feed through to your child, and you yourself will get a better insight into what's actually going on in the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's so many ways to do that, from volunteering on trips. I worked in a school where they had parents coming in and doing reading with some of the children. So there's lots of different ways that you can be involved. You yourself can be a governor, a parent governor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really would like to push to tell more parents, if they can, to try and do more of that.
Yeah. Okay. So what advice would you give anyone who's considering becoming a role model, and how, what advice would you give and how could they go about doing it?
Well, I started off sort of tutoring. I was tutoring just for a bit of extra money.
Okay.
And literally from the tutoring, they pushed me to do role modeling, and I didn't ever see myself as a role model. So I would just say, just do something you like.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go out of your comfort zone. You don't have to do big assemblies, but you could do maybe little one-on-ones and
Yeah.
little tutoring and reading. You could obviously contact BTEG, who is a great organisation. They're always looking for male and female black role models.
Okay.
And me, myself, our community sports management network, we're always looking for coaches. We're always
Mm-hmm.
looking for people who want to engage with young people in some sort. So the opportunities are out there, Ryan. And
Mm-hmm.
if you really want to do it and make a help and make a difference, like you can, you
Mm-hmm.
definitely can. And it will be much appreciated, because we lack role models. I mean, I don't want to keep going on, but I apart from Luther on BBC, I don't know any sort of, there is no Tonight with Carl Reid.
Yeah.
We have positive black role models on our TV screens, to my knowledge, apart from maybe sport.
Yeah.
But we need more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really try my best to encourage more of that if possible.
Okay. So Carl, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, to speak to you about being a role model and some of the stuff you do, and if they want to get involved in any of the coaching with Southwark Storm or any of other the sports teams that you work with, what's the best way of getting in contact with you?
Well, hey, I think there's like a Batman signal for me if you try it. No, I mean, the easiest way would be to search Southwark Storm in Google or Facebook. So we've got a Facebook group.
Okay.
What I'll do to make it easier, I mean, I'll give you my links so that when you post this, you've got links for it. But whether email, text, WhatsApp, whatever the case be, you can get at us. But the easiest way I would definitely say would be Southwark Storm Facebook. And, we're easily contactable from there. The email address, ssl-ltd@live.co.uk. But there's just so many ways to get in contact with us. And I will give you our links, Ryan. But thank you so much.
Definitely. Well, thanks for your time. And as I said, you are an unsung hero, and keep up the good work. And we need more people like you in the community. All right?
I'm going to keep the good work, but I don't feel like a hero, Ryan. I feel like a normal guy from South London, but thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
But I bet you're a hero to a few people. Yeah?
Thank you, Ryan.
Right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Influence and Inspire podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. See you next week.